Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Childcare Chatter Podcast, the show that educates on all things childcare, brought to you by Childcare Resource and Referral of Southeast Iowa. I'm Audrie Aden, childcare consultant for Scott County and Muscatine County.
And I'm Malia Love, and today's topic is one that every childhood educator wrestles with at some point: room arrangement. How we set up a space does so much more than just look pretty. It influences behavior, autonomy, learning, and even the overall emotional climate of the classroom.
Exactly. A thoughtfully arranged room can reduce challenging behaviors, encourage independence, and support meaningful engagement. And on the flip side, a chaotic or cluttered room can create stress for both adults and children.
So today we're breaking down what makes a great early childhood environment, from the entryway all the way to centers and cozy nooks. Let's dive in.
Let's start with the big question. Why does room arrangement matter? I think sometimes people assume it's only mainly decorative.
Totally. But when you look through an early childhood lens, you start to see space as the third teacher. The first teacher is the adult, the second is the peer, and the third is the environment.
Right. Children read the room way before they read the rules posted on the wall. The layout tells them what's available, where to go, and what behavior is expected.
And for young children, especially in toddler or preschool rooms, clear physical boundaries help define learning areas. Without that structure, kids tend to drift. Materials migrate all over the place, and teachers spend half the day redirecting.
And another reason arrangement matters is that it supports independence. When materials are accessible, clearly labeled, and placed intentionally, children can make choices on their own, which promotes confidence and social-emotional growth.
So instead of thinking of room arrangement as an afterthought, think of it as classroom management, curriculum, and relationships, all rolled into one physical space.
I couldn't agree more.
So now that we've covered the why, let's walk through what an environment should communicate to children.
The environment speaks, even when we aren't. When a child enters a room, they're quietly asking questions. Is this place safe? Or is this a place where I belong? Or even, is this a place where I can play and explore?
And the room answers through things like lighting, clutter, color, furniture height, and the flow of traffic.
For young children, predictability is comfort. When spaces are consistent, they feel secure. But at the same time, environments should invite curiosity, open shelving, interesting textures, and materials arranged in a way that draws children in.
The best rooms strike a balance between warm and stimulating. Too much color or too many posters can be overwhelming. Too little can feel very sterile.
Exactly. The goal is a space that feels like a home for learning, organized, calm, but still full of opportunities for joyful discovery.
So let's get practical. How do we actually set up a room to achieve all of this? Let's break the room into sections.
First, let's start with the big picture layout. Think of the room like a map. Where do you want children to go first? And how can you prevent bottlenecks or chaos?
And don't forget about adult movement. Teachers need clear sight lines, places where you can see multiple areas all at once.
One helpful technique is to identify quiet zones versus active zones. Quiet zones include the library, writing center, or cozy corner. Active zones may be blocks, dramatic play, or sensory tables.
Putting quiet and active areas right next to each other, that's a recipe for frustration. You want enough separation that children in quiet zones can stay calm, and children in active roles can fully engage without being constantly told to quiet down.
Another thing people that forget is the entrance of the room. The entry area sets the tone. It should be welcoming and not full of clutter or chaotic activity.
Yes, families and children should be able to enter and settle without tripping over block towers or walking through paint projects.
So once the overall flow is established, let's zoom in and talk about the learning centers themselves. Blocks are loud, social, and often spread out, so they need space. Ideally, this area goes near a wall to prevent runway blocks and provide stability for tall structures.
Low shelves help define the area while keeping materials visible, and labels, both pictures and words, support independence and cleanup.
Rugs help often soften sound and give children a defined building space. And displaying photos of buildings or structures can inspire more complex play.
Dramatic play is such a rich learning area. Language, social skills, problem solving, but it also gets very active.
So placing it next to blocks makes sense. They're both high energy areas and often connect and play themes.
Flexibility is key here. Add baskets and hooks so children can access dress-up clothes, and rotate props based on interest, but don't overwhelm the space with too many materials all at once.
Now for the opposite vibe, your calm, soft, quiet refuge.
Every classroom needs a cozy nook. Soft seating, pillows, maybe a canopy. Anything that gives children a sense of escape from the busier parts of the room.
Placing it far from active areas helps keep noise levels appropriate, and having a small number of high-quality books makes the space inviting without clutter.
Art areas should allow for creativity without overwhelming children or teachers. Keep tools accessible and stored in clear containers.
And place art near a sink if possible. Teachers everywhere will thank you.
For sensory tables, think about boundaries. A nearby mat might help contain spills. Visual cues like pictures showing how many children can be at the table keep things running smoothly.
And as always, rotate materials based on developmental goals, interest, or themes.
Now that we've talked about spaces, let's talk about something just as important: materials.
A beautiful room means nothing if the materials aren't purposeful. Kids should know what's available, where it goes, and how to use it.
Quality over quantity. Too many materials can actually decrease engagement because children get overwhelmed.
And materials should reflect children's cultures, interests, and identities. Mirrors, books, dramatic play props, and art materials. Representation matters.
And durability matters too, especially in early childhood settings. Open-ended materials like loose parts, blocks, and natural items invite creativity.
So think about what the material teaches before placing it on a shelf.
We're almost at the end, so let's wrap with some common mistakes and how to fix them.
Here are some common mistakes to think about. Mistake number 1, clutter everywhere. Solution, remove half the materials and see how much calmer things get.
Mistake 2, furniture that's too tall. Children should see over and into shelves. Think about child-sized furniture or easily accessible baskets.
Mistake 3, centers not clearly defined. Use rugs, shelving, lighting, or even tape on the floor to create boundaries.
Mistake 4, ignoring family perspective. Invite parents to share what makes their children feel safe or comfortable.
Mistake 5, forgetting that the room evolves. Rearrangement should happen throughout the year as interest and skill levels change.
So let's finish with a quick takeaway.
So the next time you walk into your classroom, look around and ask yourself, what is my environment saying to children?
Is it welcoming? Predictable? Inspiring? Does it invite independence? Does it support belonging?
Room arrangement is a powerful teaching tool, and when we get it right, everything else becomes just a little bit easier.
Thank you for joining us.
We're super grateful for your curiosity about room arrangement in early childhood. If you found this episode helpful, share it with your team or another educator. Together, we can build strong foundations for every child. Until next time, keep learning, keep observing, and keep nurturing the incredible potential in every child. Don't miss out. Tune in next month for another exciting episode of the Childcare Chatter podcast, brought to you by your pals at Childcare Resource and Referral of Southeast Iowa.